Hello and welcome to the Weather Studio Live. It's 1 p.m, it's Thursday. We broadcast live from the Met Office this time every week. Rain or shine, we're here to talk about the weather, or, as is the case this week, snowfall. I'm Aidan McGivern.
And I'm Clare and Aidan, and today we're talking about the UK weather today, tomorrow and Thursday. Snow is in the forecast every day, as well as ice. There's a lot of warnings in force, so we'll be taking you through those, the timings of the rain, sleet and snow today, and also this interesting feature coming up from the southwest on Thursday. We have Deputy Chief coming in who'll be discussing that and the level of uncertainty, who's going to be affected, and yes, the latest warnings for Thursday's snow and ice as well.
That's right. Have you seen snow in the last few weeks? Some have, some haven't. Some will see their first snow for the next few days, and some people won't see any snow for the next few days. It's typical British winter weather. So tell us about the kind of weather you've seen recently and send in your questions. Of course, we'd always love to hear from you. We've had a few questions left over from last week. Actually, this is more of a comment. Robert, age 6, last week on Facebook said, "Thank you for teaching us about the weather." That's a really nice comment to hear. And Andy Hayward, last week on Facebook, said, "I heard a term called downstream amplification in connection to the jet stream. Not heard this before. Can you explain how that affects our weather?" Now, we were talking about that last week because the jet stream was in a very wriggly state across the Atlantic, and what you had was cold air in North America plunging that jet stream south, and a bit like a kink in a skipping rope, it then moved north over the Atlantic and then plunged south again over the UK. And sometimes that's the way that the jet stream, a ripple in the jet stream over North America, can travel downstream and affect our weather in the UK. And of course, we'll be talking more about the jet stream and what kind of shape it's in at the moment in the next 10 minutes or so.
Including Storm Gabrielle, which is affecting France, Pyrenees, moving up towards Benelux. In fact, that's due to that downward amplification, which is really causing some quite unsettled weather across the Mediterranean as well. But today, the focus is UK weather. Should we crack on?
Let's go.
Okay. Currently, there are weather warnings in force across the country. The only place where you won't see them is Aberdeenshire, perhaps some parts of the borders, Fife and Dundee, but here we're likely to see the lowest temperatures over the next few days. I mean, lows of around -12, -13, more about that in a moment. So we do have snow and ice warnings in force anywhere from the Northern Isles, the Western Isles, the western side of Scotland, Northern Ireland, and then the whole of England and Wales. So yes, when we talk about snow and ice, there's snow showers in the north and the west, then we have a band of rain, sleet and snow moving from the northwest down towards the southeast, and we'll show you timings on that through this afternoon in just a moment. But let's fast forward to Thursday. Now, our medium range forecaster has already issued a warning for snow and ice on Thursday. We'll be talking to her in a moment as well. Snow and ice. This time, the direction of this bad weather is coming from a slightly different angle. It's coming in from the southwest. So we're seeing rain, sleet and snow moving down from the northwest today. Come Thursday, an area of low pressure. Now, the air is going to be very cold over the UK through Wednesday night. So as the rain hits the snow, we are expecting some when the rain hits the cold air, it's going to turn to snow. So there's some uncertainty at the moment, but obviously we'll be talking about that, the risks involved, and this actually looks like a slightly more disruptive feature than the one we're seeing right now. So yes, stay up to date with the warnings. They could change over the next 24 hours or so, obviously on our app and online as well. But at the moment, they are all yellow. Will that change?
It's worth saying, with respect to the warnings, the yellow areas don't mean this is a guarantee of snow within the yellow areas. They are areas where there is a greater likelihood of impacts from the weather. So in this case, snow and ice. So what this essentially means is Thursday, in this area, there's the risk that some places will be impacted by either snow or ice, or both. And it's the same with today's warnings. So just because you're in a yellow warning area for today, it doesn't mean that you're guaranteed heaps of snow on the ground tomorrow. It means that there's an increased likelihood of impacts, and that could just mean some slippery pavements to watch out for. You know, it's winter, we get this sort of weather. They're yellow warnings that get issued on a regular basis through winter, just to give a heads up, basically, to people that, you know, there could be some disruption over the next few days. It's not on the scale as last year when we had amber and red warnings. It's not on that scale yet. These are yellow warnings, but still worth a heads up, right? Because
So a lot of people do want snow.
yeah.
You know, it looks pretty, doesn't it? And we don't get much snow in this country. It's a few weeks of a year. Should we see what's happening right now?
Yeah, well, what's happening is the jet stream, of course, we often talk about the jet stream. It is diving south of the UK, and when that happens in the winter, what it typically means is that we've got cold air in place across the British Isles. You can see the blue colours there over the UK. Now, not as cold as the absolutely freezing Arctic air across North America at the moment. Life-threatening weather here, but still, nevertheless, typical winter chill at the moment across the UK, the jet stream to the south. What the jet stream does, as well as bring us cold air from the north when it's in this position, it also carries areas of low pressure. Now let's run that sequence forward again, and you can see this area of low pressure around about this time is now moving into France. And it's actually France that will see the biggest impacts from snowfall. You can see these brighter colours here, that's rain at the moment, but of course, as that moves this afternoon into parts of France, some really significant amounts of snow. But for the UK, it will mainly be rain at first. It is rain at the moment, it's raining outside here at the moment, and then cold air tucking in during Tuesday afternoon and into the evening. And that's likely to lead to some snowfall on the back edge of the rainfall, followed by snow showers for northern and western Britain. So it's one of those situations where it's a messy mixture. If you're at low levels, if you're not on a hill, a mixture of rain, sleet and snow over the next 12 hours or so.
And if you are heading to, say, Paris over the next few hours, you may see some disruption there, particularly at the airports or if you're travelling by train. This is a huge area of snow moving up towards Benelux, northwestern parts of Germany. But for the Pyrenees, they're getting some good snow conditions, although blizzards over the next 12 hours, and then I think it will settle down again.
Yeah, so, I mean, if that low pressure was a small amount further north, we'd have had a much more significant amount of snow. But as it is, this is what that low pressure is doing outside at the moment. So this is the radar, but it also includes rain and snow, doesn't it, at
So
midday?
you can see the distribution of not only the snow showers across the north and the west of Scotland down to Northern Ireland. They are actually sort of clubbing together a little bit. So some heavy bursts here coming in, particularly across the western side of the province, down towards Ayrshire, Strathclyde, and quite a lot coming across the northwest Highlands, moving up towards Orkney, as well as a mix of rain, sleet and snow for the Western Isles. And then this is dynamic rain, so it's a slightly different feature. It's broader, it's more intensive, and you can see pretty much there's a mix of rain, sleet and snow here. So the white stuff is the snow over the higher ground, but also at lower levels across the northwest of England, as well as the western side of Wales. In fact, we've seen some lovely photos on Twitter. Obviously, it looks a bit dangerous to drive, but if you're out in your back garden and seeing some white stuff, Oldham, Bury, Buxton, seeing some really quite wintry weather coming their way, and this is all pushing down towards the southeast. So I know a lot of people living in the southeast thinking, where is the snow? You'll be getting it over the next, few hours or so. It's pushing quite quickly, isn't it?
It is.
Down towards
it's
the
coming
southeast.
in quick and fast.
And the cold air, as Aidan said, is really tucking in behind.
As I mentioned, it's raining outside, but you know what I love about this? You've got the blue there. That shows that it's raining outside here in Exeter. But look at that, you can just pick out Exmoor there. So you can pick out the hills, and perhaps, is that Dartmoor there? Just that little bit of white. So you can see how the hills are making a difference to this, whether it's rain, sleet or snow.
And the snow line at the moment is around 200 metres or
yes,
so.
you don't have to go far.
You don't, and any heavier burst, that snow line does come down. So let's just take you through the next 12 hours or so. So this is current conditions. This is 1 p.m. today, where we are right now. You can see this is the band of rain, sleet and snow stretching from East Yorkshire across, now pushing into the Midlands, central southern England, as well as the West Country. Snow on its back edge, and where we see some heavier bursts, places such as Derbyshire, the Peak District, we are seeing that snow at lower levels as well. It will eventually clear from these parts as it moves down around rush hour towards anywhere from the Wash, the Midlands, central southern England. So this is 5 o'clock this afternoon, and even at lower levels down in sort of Dorset, Somerset way, across towards, that's Surrey and Sussex there, we could see some wet snow for a time. In fact, one of the questions we've had on Facebook, what's the difference between wet snow and sleet? Well, snow comes in lots of different forms, doesn't it? It's powdery, it can be wet, it can be really quite icy, and wet snow pretty much is where the temperature is around zero. and a lot of moisture in the air.
There's a lot of more water in that snowflake, and sleet is a mixture of rain and snow. So there's a transition from rain to sleet, wet snow, and then when it's really cold, that powdery, flaky snow.
So this is 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and then by the time we get to 5, 6, 7 o'clock, it pushes right across East Anglia and the southeast.
So we're looking now at rush hour, aren't we?
Yeah. So this is likely to see some snow, perhaps even settling at lower levels, certainly over the hills. But yes, it could cause some disruption through rush hour this evening. Lots of slippery surfaces, poor visibility with that. And yes, any rain could turn to snow as you're journeying home from your commute through the evening time, or doing maybe, I don't know, heading out for the evening. I wouldn't, to be honest. It looks quite nasty, really. Behind it, some clearer weather.
Now, we always
through.
get people saying about how this country can't cope with a small amount of snow. 1 to 2 centimetres typically in this area, perhaps slightly more in 1 or 2 locations. But this is Tuesday evening rush hour. Half of the UK's population live in this small corner of the British Isles. Very, very busy. So, of course, the Met Office, having had this signal that there'll be a bit of snow, and of course, one of the main hazards will be ice as well, slippery roads at rush hour. So, of course, it's a heads up that some places will be affected by that. It could cause disruption.
And notice it only slowly clears through evening time till around midnight. So, for places such as Suffolk, Norfolk, Essex and Kent, you're going to get some snowy weather through until probably around midnight. And by then, the temperature has really plummeted, so it is likely to turn to ice. So, yes, some icy conditions not only here, but because the land is so wet, we could see ice pretty much anywhere. But let's now backtrack and go up to the north of Scotland again. And we've got a really nice convective pattern here, haven't we, Aidan?
Yeah, very showery. So you can see these areas of snow are much more blobby. This is indicative of showers coming in, and these will be more definitively of snow rather than that mixture of rain, sleet and snow. But of course, because they're showers, they're hit and miss. Some places getting lines of showers moving in, giving a few centimetres or so. Other areas, well sheltered by the mountains there. As you mentioned, no snow and ice warnings there for eastern parts of Scotland because these showers won't reach there. But a clear and very cold night there. And then you've got Northern Ireland, haven't you? Northern and western parts of Northern Ireland catching most of those showers. And come further south, there's Cumbria, there's northwest England, Manchester, Liverpool, Wales as well, predominantly over the mountains and around northern and western coasts. Very little sign of rainfall mixed in here because the air by this stage, this is 1 in the morning, the air by this stage is cold. These are snow showers. And of course, southwest England, raining outside at the moment, like I say. But the air colder by the time the rain has moved away to allow snow showers to come in overnight. So it's actually across parts of Dorset, Somerset, Devon, Cornwall, where we could see the first of the snow during the hours of darkness overnight.
Can I just say, Tina from Tina Powsland on Facebook is confirmed, yes, it is snowing in Exmoor right now. Thanks very much for that, Tina. We love these nowcasts. Keep sending them in. What's happening where you are right now? And as Aidan said, if you want to see some falling snow across this region here, you're going to have to step out perhaps overnight. Yeah, and tomorrow morning as well, these showers will be continuing. This is 6 o'clock in the morning. Could be a bit tricky out there on some of the roads across western parts of England, Wales, Northern Ireland and western Scotland, because there'll still be some falling snow coming in the form of showers, so on and off. But some areas getting some showers, enough to give a few centimetres perhaps, but not widespread, more of a hit and miss, patchy nature. So that's tomorrow morning, very cold start. And of course the snow's gone from eastern areas, but here it's really cold and there will be those slippery surfaces. How cold will it be? Well, these are the kinds of numbers at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning for towns and cities. So we're talking -1 to -3 degrees. In the countryside, where we get a bit more shelter away from urban areas, -6, -7, perhaps across some sheltered glens, -8 degrees. So really cold out there, and of course, because of that chill, the below freezing air, following the rain, sleet, snow, and the showers and all of that sort of thing, the main concern tomorrow morning are those slippery surfaces out there, black ice, pavements, cycling, driving, all of that sort of thing. Watch out for that. OK, now we have talked about Thursday, not in very much detail, but we are going to address that now. I'd like to introduce you to a newbie on the block when it comes to the Weather Studio Live. She obviously works in the Met Office, has done for years. She's the Deputy Chief Forecaster, Jenny Rourke, and she's going to be discussing what's going to happen on Thursday. Please come in, Jenny. First of all, Jenny, before we talk about Thursday, just tell me what you do in the Met Office.
So I'm Deputy Chief Meteorologist, so I'm primarily looking at the UK, supporting the Chief Meteorologist in issuing weather warnings, national severe weather warnings for the whole of the UK, and looking a bit further ahead. So I tend to focus on, say, 2-3 days ahead all the way out to a month ahead.
So Thursday's obviously right in that, isn't it? It's day 3-ish currently, and it's looking very interesting, isn't it?
It certainly is. I mean, everyone's attention is really fixed on Thursday now, so we're looking at a weather system coming in.
So this is Wednesday, first of all, just to explain what's going on. This is Wednesday. We've still got the jet stream to the south of the UK. We've still got these blues over the country. A cold day to come on Wednesday and heading into Wednesday night. If you could talk us through what happens next, Jenny. There's a low coming in, isn't there, from the west?
So you can see this weather system out in the Atlantic. This is the early hours of Thursday morning, and this will bring a band of cloud and rain initially into the southwest of England, but as it comes up against those very cold temperatures you've been talking about in situ over the UK, you'll see it turns to white as it comes across England and Wales through Thursday, primarily through the afternoon. This is now 3-4 o'clock, so this is rush hour, getting into rush hour for England and Wales now. So it's going to bring snow across large parts of England and Wales. So we're trying to figure out what's the disruption likely to be associated with this, and issuing weather warnings.
And it's tricky, isn't it, because you have different computer models saying different things. What does this one say?
So this is for 6 o'clock on Thursday afternoon, and this is a European Centre model. So they have got, at this point, at 6 o'clock Thursday, snow extending quite far north, almost into Yorkshire by this time. These are the white symbols.
And the green down here remains above freezing, so we're talking rain rather than snow. Anywhere from Somerset down towards the sort of southwest peninsula, right down there, and just along that south coast, although Kent and the home counties under the blues there.
Yep, so that's one computer model, and this is another. This is our Met Office model for the same time, for 6 p.m. on Thursday. And you can notice that the snow isn't extending that far north. The focus is more southerly. I mean, it's coming more into Somerset and Devon and southern counties, southern Wales. So we have this spread in what the models are showing us will happen, and that carries on overnight. So by midnight, which is here, the European model's got the snow extending all the way up to far northern parts of England. And if you go to the global model at the same time, at midnight, going into Friday morning, the snow's nowhere near as far north, is it? It's got it restricted to southern areas.
So not much of a difference, and you can see there's not much of a difference in the spread of that weather front, but it makes a huge difference in terms of what people experience.
What's this here then?
So what we're looking at here is we run our models as an ensemble as well, and it means we run the model several times with slightly different conditions to start with to account for uncertainty. And this is showing on Thursday afternoon the position of all the different fronts, surface fronts at that time. So it's showing that there is a spread in where the positions of the fronts might be, which makes a difference to where you'll expect to see the snowy conditions. So actually the spread isn't all that large. It's 100 miles or so, isn't it? But that does make a big difference in terms of how far into the cold air it's going to extend and how far north it's going to extend.
It's critical for this time of year. If we were talking about autumn time or perhaps even summer, we'd be going, well, it's going to be wet and the rain's pushing northwards. But it's because of the blues and the greens and where the temperature drops below freezing and that precipitation type turns from rain to something far more disruptive.
Yes, it's the disruption that's the important bit, isn't it? This is another way of displaying those ensemble output that I was talking to you about when we run the model lots of times. This shows the probability of snowfall accumulating. So this is the probability of getting more than a centimetre of snow.
And this is for Friday?
This is for the 24 hours leading up to Friday, the midday Friday. Right. So it's from midday Thursday to midday Friday in 24-hour period. The reds and the purples show where there's a higher probability of seeing the snow. But the yellows, which are a bit more faint, but you can just about see, they show 20 to 40% probability of seeing a centimetre or more of snow. So actually, even down in Somerset and Devon and the southern counties, and all the way up to northern parts of England, there is a significant chance. You know, that 20 to 40% probability isn't something we would dismiss.
Particularly for that part of the world.
And all the while, snow showers keep sort of bombarding the north and coastal districts as well. So there will be accumulations up there as well. And inland, well, this zone here, you probably get away with nothing.
So there certainly will be parts of Scotland and Northern England and Northern Ireland that don't see a significant chance of disruption due to snow on Thursday and Friday.
Just a reminder of the weather warning that's in force now for Thursday, and it covers a large area because of that uncertainty, doesn't it?
It does. So with our weather warnings, I've issued one this morning for the snow and ice, and it's looking at a low likelihood of medium impacts. So it's showing that throughout this whole area there will be places that will get snow that will cause disruption to transport. You know, you might be seeing enough accumulations on the roads that would lead to some accidents. There'll be icy surfaces that you were talking about overnight into Friday morning as well. So, as you say, the large area does highlight the uncertainty in where exactly that will be. It won't be for everyone, but somewhere within that region we will be looking at some potential for disruption.
What kind of snow amounts could happen within this area?
Within this area, we're likely to see some places getting 2 to 5 centimetres of snow, and there could well be more. Some of the computer models are showing there could be 10 centimetres of snow in some parts. So this is why we're talking about those more medium-sized impacts than we would be, say, with what's going on today, when it's lower scale impacts we're looking at.
Yeah.
Especially if it were to occur at rush hour, say the M4 corridor.
Timing is crucial, isn't it?
Which some of the models do bring snow into.
So it's timing as well. And also the other thing we haven't really talked about is it's the rain, sleet and snow associated with some very strong winds through the morning into the afternoon associated with that low.
Yeah, there'll be winds as well. So where we do get some settling snow, it might be blowing around as well, which is an extra hazard to consider.
Yeah.
Right, well, we'll have to keep a very close eye on that one. Before we go, Jenny, a few questions have come in. Let's see. A few people asking about the longer range. So we talked a lot about the snow and ice and that sort of thing. But of course, you're forecasting for a month or so ahead. Yeah. What do you think will happen after this week's wintry weather?
So after Thursday into Friday, we're looking at a sort of showery regime for a few days with wintry showers. And then going into next week, I think it'll be vaguely similar, where we'll see some showery days. We'll see some fronts trying to come in from the west, which might have hill snow, might have other bits of snow. Obviously, it's a bit too far ahead to put detail on that. But it's not till we get further into February that we start to see hints of it maybe getting a bit colder. But that's a long way off for now.
Lucy Cooper on Facebook has asked any power cuts, and I guess, is there a chance with this amount of snow? There
is a chance of it affecting power. So again, it depends on where the heaviest snowfall is, and if it's going to, we call it accrete on the lines, the power lines, and it can cause some disruption. But there is a chance, a small chance of that.
Jimbo71 on YouTube has told us, I'm sunbathing in my Speedos in Hertford, so thank you for that update, Jimbo71. And I think that's all we've got time for because, of course, you're very busy, Jenny, on medium rain, so we'll let you go. And we will keep you updated via our social media channels over the next few days, over the next few hours, of course, in terms of the wintry weather this week.
And the Met Office podcast has issued its latest Weather Snap, which is a news weekly podcast about the weather across the UK. So there's an interview with one of the chief forecasters. That's about 5 minutes long, just highlighting what Jenny's been talking about as well, the weather today as well as Thursday. You can find that on iTunes, on Spotify and SoundCloud.
Yep, something to listen to on your commute. But that's all for this week. We will be back same time next week with more weather chat. Thank you for joining us.